Evan Rodriguez, coming back to this topic again. Yes, he's going to be a cap casualty, but Bill Zito is going to keep this team intact for as long as he can. I'm going to tell you what some of this new information is that I have regarding Evan Rodriguez. And I've got a bone to pick with a few of you guys in the comments that you were leaving after some of these videos. I do appreciate it. You guys have been more or less pretty respectful. Still, be careful with the way you're wording things. Don't be super aggressive. I do appreciate all of your comments and your support, but I'm going to use this episode to respond to some of those comments. I'm not going to name you guys outright at all, but you'll know who you are based on how my responses are later in this episode. So guys, hang tight. You're not going to want to miss this. I love competitive banter. That's the thing. I'm doing this for entertainment purposes. I love when you guys leave great comments because I want to take the opportunity to respond back here on this episode. First, though, I want to start off by saying one thing, guys. When I say something is hypothetical or a situation or whatever it might be, if I'm using that term, you guys need to understand. Hypothetical means imagined or suggested and not necessarily true. I'm not saying it is going to happen at all. It's just food for thought. It is there so that way I can get you guys to respond and just say, you know what? It's an interesting thing to think of, but yes, I disagree or I agree or what have you. And some of you have been great with that. Some of you have been a little overly aggressive with it, but I still love that you guys are commenting. Thank you for your support and watching these videos. So let's just dive right into this thing. Evan Rodriguez, guys, I'm just going to lay it out there right now. He is not going to be traded immediately. I've already said this to you so many times in the last like 2 or 3 weeks with these videos. I don't think he's going anywhere yet. Eventually, it's going to happen. He's going to get traded. The Panthers have to get under the salary cap. Matthew Tkachuk, it's a matter of time until we hear that he's probably going to have surgery. Yes, he said it's 50-50. It's probably going to happen. And I think they're going to wait till the very last minute to make the announcement or for him to have surgery so they can put him on LTIR so they can go over the cap limit in the legal and within the rules that are for long-term injury reserve, which I went over in one of my last episodes. So just understand, I think they're going to wait till the last minute to have him undergo surgery. Then they're going to be able to keep Evan Rodriguez, Boquist, all the guys, keep this roster intact. That's what they're going to try to do. Bill Zito is going to wait this thing out. And the reason why, which I will get into in a minute, has to do with Evan Rodriguez and boosting his value when the trade will possibly happen. But before we get into that, guys, let's just go right into Evan Rodriguez and his numbers and some of the reasoning behind why he is going to have to be the cap casualty. And for the person who wrote there, stop saying that he's going to go or whatever the terminology that you used or get rid of, I think is what you said. I'm not using it in a derogatory sense. I'm sorry that you took it that way, but I've used cap casualty so many times, it's like beating a dead horse. I have to be a human thesaurus at times and find different ways to say that he's going to be gone. Unfortunately, I love Evan Rodriguez as much as the next Florida Panthers fan does. He has been integral to the Florida Panthers' last 2 Stanley Cup championships. Well, the only 2, obviously. And because he does whatever is needed when called upon from Paul Maurice. Literally, he can play any single spot on those lines. If he's got to be center, so be it. Left wing, right wing, it doesn't matter. He does it all on whatever line he is told to play on. That's what I love about him. But there are things that I don't think a lot of people are realizing. I saw in a great article, and I've talked to some guys that are insiders and stuff about like kind of what has been talked about, the little whispers here and there about some of the reasoning. Number one, he's going to be 32 on July 28th. So he's getting up there in age. So let's start looking at his numbers, though. This is one of the biggest things of the reason why he's going to be the biggest cap casualty, or the only cap casualty, or maybe one of 2. It's going to have to be one of 2. What am I talking about, guys? Sorry, he's going to have to be probably one of 2 cap casualties because he's making $3 million a year per year for the next 2 years. We're $3.75 million over the cap. So it's going to have to be him and someone else who has a smaller contract, maybe a guy who's making a little over $1 million a year. So we have a little wiggle room to work with, but we will see. But the biggest reasoning behind Evan Rodriguez, besides his age, which is a big one, is his plus minus had a massive drop off from last year to this year in the regular season. I'm not talking about the playoffs right now. I'm talking about the regular season. He had 26. He was a plus 26 in the regular season last year. This year, he went to -4. That's a massive, massive drop off. And for those of you who do not understand what the plus minus is, for those of you who do, tune this out. The plus minus works this way. A player gets a point if he is on the ice and his team scores when they are at even strength or shorthanded. And they also get a point deducted. They get a -1 if he's on the ice when they get scored on at even strength or shorthanded. So 2023, 2024, amazing season, plus 26. Last year, not so much. And if you want to look at it, yes, he might have had a few more goals this year compared to last year. He had a lot more assists last year. Who's setting up his teammates. He was, I mean, I don't know. His game just changed. And who knows? He might be on that way down in his career with his age. He might be on that down slope and starting to come down. Unfortunately. And like I said, I hate to say that he's going to have to be that cap casualty, but he's going to have to be the odd man out just with his contract, with his age, the plus minus. But in the playoffs, he still held his own this past season. Numbers, I pretty much points wise, identical last two seasons. Scored more goals in 23, 24, less this past season, but he set up his teammates more in this past playoffs. But his plus minus did go down, not as dramatically, but still, it's a drop off. He's dropping a little bit. And that plus minus went to +3 instead of +6. And he played 3 games fewer. So if they had played, let's say, 2 or 3 more games, that plus minus may have been a little bit further down, maybe in the negatives. Who knows? Maybe it would have gone up. I don't know. But right now, all the signs are pointing towards he's kind of declining in his career. I hate to say that. Like I said, I like him a lot. I want him to stay on this team because the chemistry is there. He does whatever he is asked when he's on the ice. He'll play on any line. He'll play any position. Obviously not defense. He's not a defenseman. But there have been times where, he's looked a little bit off in the regular season. But that's the truth of the matter. The stats don't lie, guys. And this is one of the reasons why he's going to be the guy that's going to have to go. Again, I'm sorry if that's not politically correct for you and you're getting a little hurt by me saying it like that. But yes, he's going to be the guy that's going to be the odd man out on this roster, along with one other individual. But the thing is this, he's not going to go anywhere, I believe, right up until the trade deadline on March 7th. However, he could go earlier. If the season starts, like I said, keep him on the roster as long as you can. Keep the chemistry there. He's a team player. That's the beautiful thing about Evan Rodriguez. That's why I like him on this team. He is a team player, and he does help make the other guys around him better at times, depending on the lines. Sometimes he's had a couple of little, I won't say brain farts, but he's definitely made a couple of bad plays with some passes and things like that. Or, his defense has been a little shoddy at times. But it's those intangibles that he is bringing on the ice. He does a great job. Like I say, he's a little Tasmanian devil when he's out there. Not the biggest guy, but man, he just seems to be everywhere on the ice. And to me, I didn't realize the biggest difference in those plus minus from last year to this year until I really, really looked at the stats. And I was like, wow, I didn't realize there was that big of a drop. But yes, it happened. It happened, unfortunately. So the one thing what I'm saying is he might get traded earlier is, let's say they play 15, 20 games into the season and he is doing great. He's got a really solid plus minus. He's scoring goals more so than he has in the last 2-3 seasons. He's assisting, he's contributing more. He's just kind of rejuvenated himself, and he'll become a higher value to any team, and we can get more back in return if we trade him earlier. That's the only scenario that I would say he might get traded well before the trade deadline on March 7th, is because if that happens. But I think Bill Zito's saying to himself, you know what? I don't think we need to do anything else. Maybe make the small little two-way contract signings here and there like they've been doing, but keep as many of these guys as we can on this roster. If you look at last year, Albert Ekman-Larsson was gone, Lomberg was gone, Tarasenko was gone, all those guys left in free agency. But if we can retain as much of this last year's roster, which I think was better than 23-24, let's stick to it. Don't fix what isn't broken. at least not yet. Yes, we're over the cap, but it can wait because we all know, come on, Matthew Kachuk's going to be on LTIR. So anyways, we can get more draft capital from him if he has a great start to his season, which I think he's going to try to prove a lot of people wrong about his abilities, that his career is not declining. He still has a lot in the tank. He can still be that really tenacious, hungry guy on the ice. So anyways, that is pretty much the update with Evan Rodrigues and things surrounding him. So guys, do not fret. He's going to be on this roster when the season starts. I think he's going to stay for a while up until the trade deadline, unless he's having a tremendous season. Then he might go a little earlier. And again, don't forget, guys, Samoskevich had a very, very good season. I compared the two. Very, very similar. Similar type of play, similar body type, build, height, all of that. Samoskevich had the same kind of numbers that Evan Rodrigues had. The only difference is there's almost a 10-year gap between the two. Samoskevich is young, up-and-coming guy. I think he's going to be a Florida Panther for a long time, and I think he's going to be one of those stars as this team starts to move forward and he starts to get more experience, especially in the playoffs. Samoskevich, I'm not kidding. He's going to be one of those guys to look at for the future and say he is going to be an all-star, I think. He had a great year last year. So anyways, let's keep going on here, guys. Again, bone to pick with a few of you guys. I'm not going to be calling you out directly, but I wanted to show you guys this. So one of you guys was talking about Seth Jones and saying, oh, well, he needs to go. We're paying him $7 million. He's not worth $7 million. I keep telling you guys, he's really a $9.5 million a year AAV, but we're not getting that cap hit from him. It's only $7 million because the Chicago Blackhawks are almost picking up 27% of his salary every year until the end of his contract, which is in his mid-30s. Okay? So he's not going to go anywhere. His numbers have been great. He's a solid defender. And you guys are like, well, in the playoffs, whoever it was like, well, in the playoffs against Draisaitl, he was out there and this guy, he got scored on, he was out of position, or this happened, and this goal got scored on him, and blah, 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 blah. His postseason plus minus was plus 11 this postseason. Giving me 2 or 3 instances in the finals alone isn't going to justify saying trade him, free up the cap room. He's a great defenseman who averages 25 and a half minutes of time on ice. Some games he's played close to 27, 28 minutes. He's a workhorse. He's a big dude. He plays similar to Aaron Ekblad. The only thing is, I think Seth Jones is a little more physical at times. Yes, he's had some blunders with some bad passes, but so is Aaron Ekblad. So is Forsling. They all do, guys, but his plus minus is plus 11 in the playoffs. And I want to show you this stat at the bottom there. Don't forget, he was traded right before the trade deadline from a very bad Chicago Blackhawks team. That's why he was minus 18 for his plus minus. Then he played 21 games with the Panthers in the regular season and he was a minus 6, but that's an improvement. And he was still trying to fit in with this team, figure out how to play with these guys. And he did, because again, look at the numbers in the playoffs. 25 and a half minutes of ice time, plus 11, 4 goals, 9 assists. He was great. And guess what? Who cares if Draisaitl scored and if he was out of position? That's usually what happens when a goal is scored. A guy's either out of position or it gets deflected off of them or the offensive player is able to get his stick on it or it bounces off. I mean, there's 1,000 scenarios that could happen of why a goal is scored on a defenseman. Okay? He's doing his best, but plus 11 is telling me he's a really solid defenseman, especially in the playoffs when it matters the most. And guess what? When he's out of position and Draisaitl scored in that, who cares? They won the Stanley Cup. Who cares? Who cares? Let it go. He's staying. He's not going anywhere. Bill Zito got him it's a steal. If the other team that they got him from is still having to pay part of his salary, that's over 25%. He's not going anywhere, guys. He's not. I think he's going to be better this year, and I think you're going to have to sit there and just say, wow, I was wrong. Seth Jones is phenomenal. So again, don't nitpick about things when it's completely a moot point because they won the Stanley Cup #1, and he was plus 11 in the playoffs. So telling me that, oh, he let this go, he let that go, oh, guys, we should trade him and clear up the cap space, that is ludicrous. That is insane. And the guy who said ludicrous, I'm going to talk to you about Alex Tuck in just a second. Here are his numbers. The first circle that I've circled a bunch there, guys, that says 82 games that he played this season. And you're trying to say, oh, that's crazy to trade for him. It would never happen. That's like their best player on Buffalo, blah, 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 whatever. Okay, good for you. I'm so glad you're pointing that out to me. Did we get Brad Marchand? I don't think I said this, no human being that watches hockey and is a fan would have said in a million years Brad Marchand would have ever been in a Florida Panthers sweater. But it happened. With Bill Zito as the GM of the Florida Panthers, never discount any trade. That was a hypothetical that I was bringing up of Alex Tuck and we trading for him, and you guys saying, oh, that's crazy that Erod and Bovequist go in there. It'll never happen. Buffalo has not been very good, guys. Alex Tuck in the playoffs has not been very good either, and I'm going to show you his numbers in a second. Anything is possible in the NHL, especially with Bill Zito at the helm. Because guess what else he did, which was the impossible? He signed all three of the big free agents, guys. Bennett, Ekblad, Marchand. They all stayed. They all signed. Don't tell me it's ludicrous. They would never make that trade. I bet you they would take that in a heartbeat. If Erod plays well this year and they give him Boquist, who's having a good year, and you give him some draft capital, I bet you it would happen. Or you say, hey, look, instead of giving us a second-round pick because Erod is having a great season, and we'll take Alex Tuck, and he's on the last year of a contract, which I'm sure he's going to play up and beyond because he wants to get a bigger contract. Plus, yes, I do understand taking on a bigger contract, that's not going to make sense because he's probably going to make a lot more than what he was getting paid in his previous contract. But again, it was food for thought. It was conjecture just to spark some debate. And that's why I'm saying I create some of these ideas to spark debate. Okay, it's not a verbatim. This is going to happen. That's why I say hypothetical. But you said, oh man, if he plays second line, if Kachchuck can't score 36 goals, why would he go there and play on the second line if that can't happen? How many games does that say? 52. He played 52 games, had 22 goals, 35 assists, 57 points. Okay, let's go back to Tuck. 82 games, 36 points, 31 assists, 67 points. Okay, so you're telling me with 30 games less, Matthew Tkachuk had 22 goals and 35 assists, 57 points. If he had played a full season and not been hurt, he would have played better than Tuck. And that's on the second line. Did you forget that Matthew Tkachuk didn't play a full season? That's right. So what you said, oh, well, that guy, if he plays in the fourth line and scores 30-something points, or fourth line, what? Dude, don't give me that. You forgot that Kachuk didn't play a full season, and he still scored 22 goals, 57 points in a season. Yes, his plus-minus was not the greatest because, hey, guys are going to have up years and down years. But if you look at the rest of his stats, 200-point seasons, the season prior, 88 points, 26 goals. I know it's not the most goals in the world being on that second line, but they don't need to. The Panthers are not about, hey, we need 4 or 5 guys that score 30-plus goals in a season. Go look at their past 3 or 4 seasons. Last season, Reinhart had 57 goals. Before that, no player hit 40. The year before that, I think 1 or 2 guys hit 40 goals. But this team is not about, hey, we need to have 3 or 4 big-time guys score 1 million goals and have 1 million assists. We need 2 or 3 100 points. No. Again, it's a selfless team. These guys are about helping each other, about winning as a team. Not, and I hate to say this, it's not like the Edmonton Oilers where you have just 2 big-time names in Draisaitl and McDavid that literally have to carry all of the weight for the team to try to win. Okay, so when you're talking about Tuck, and we're going to look at his playoff numbers, look at this. 20 games in 2019 and 2020, he had 12 points, 8 goals and 4 assists. The following year, 19 games, 4 goals, 5 assists, 9 points. Okay, let's take a look at Matthew Tkachuk. Playing on one leg this postseason in 23 games. In Tuck's 20-game postseason, he had 12 points. 23 games, playing on one leg, he had 23 points. He had 8 goals and 15 assists. The previous season, 22 points, 6 goals and 16 assists. He plays better when it matters. And you're telling me that Tuck, I'm not even gonna go there anymore, man. I'm just getting a headache. My God. So what you're telling me is a mute point about Tuck coming here, even if we did trade for him, which is not going to happen. It's so far fetched unless I don't know, unless we waive someone or someone gets hurt and they just can't play and they retire, something like that. But that's not going to happen, guys. But again, it was just conjecture. It was food for thought. So I don't want you guys to keep coming at me with these things and telling me, like, don't forget, Matthew Tkachuk did not play a full season last year. Tuck is a great player. I'm just looking at guys to say they're in their last year of a contract. They're going to try to play their butts off. They're going to have something to prove. Are they going to stay? Are they going to go? I don't think Tuck's going to want to stay on a team that isn't winning. He probably wants to go to a team that's going to compete and make it to the playoffs. Okay? Again, it was hypothetical, it was conjecture, but your point of saying that Tuck would never come here because if Matthew Tkachuk can't score 36 goals on the second line, dude, he could have easily scored almost 40, I would say, and gotten back to his 88 to 90 something points had he played a full season and not gotten hurt. So your point is mute, sir. It really is. So yeah, that's pretty much what I got. That's the bone I had to pick with the two of you guys. So please, when you come at me, I really do appreciate the comments. I really do. But do your research first and don't try to call me out and try to make me look bad. Okay? I'm just trying to make this fun for you guys so you can leave some interesting comments and I'll follow it up like this. But again, do your research. Okay? Don't call me out and try to boost yourself up and make me look bad when clearly you didn't do the full research and you forgot that Matthew Tkachuk missed 30 games due to injury this past season. Okay? I'm going to do that one more time just because it's going to make me feel all nice and warm inside. 52 games, 82 game season. 67 points this year and 82 games. Kachuk had 57. There's a 10-point difference between the two guys and one played 30 more games. So I think if Alex Tuck did come here, which would never happen, but again, with Bill Zito at the helm, you never know. But I'm not going to leave it off the table. I'm just going to say in the 2% chance that he would get traded for, he could definitely put up big-time numbers on the second line. He doesn't have to be a first liner. And again, look at other guys on this team. Look at how Bennett played in the regular season. This team doesn't need to have four guys scoring 37 goals and have a guy scoring 40 and have guys scoring 50. It's a team effort. That is how they win Stanley Cups. But anyways, guys, I keep getting off. That made me feel a little bit better. And thank you guys again for your support. I do appreciate it. I'm sorry if I came off a little bit rough there and my eyes are itching me right now. But yeah, I'm sorry if I came off a little rough. But again, just understand that if you guys are going to leave a comment and you're going to come at me, I'm going to bring it right back because there's a reason why I'm saying what I'm saying. If I do say hypothetical, please understand I'm not trying to throw something out there that is 100%. Oh, this is a matter of fact. This is literal, which is the total opposite of hypothetical. Okay? It's food for thought. It's fun because this is the off season. We have a GM who has literally made the impossible happen for the Florida Panthers with trades, with re-signing of unrestricted free agents. Anything is possible with this team. It really is. I see it that way. So don't discount anything. But I think Bill Zito is keeping this roster exactly as it is. We're waiting on what happens with Matthew Tkachuk. Erod's going to stay. Nothing is going to happen right now except for, I think, two-way contracts for guys that are going to go to the AHL. Those are going to be the guys we're going to need if other guys on our current roster start to fall because of injury or what have you. Okay, those are the only moves I think that are going to be really happening. I think trades are pretty much going to be done, but who knows? Crazy things have happened. But anyways, guys, thank you for joining me on this episode of Panthers Digest. I appreciate your support. Do not forget to hit that subscribe button down below. Guys, please comment again. Be respectful to one another. Do not be so overly critical with certain things. Do your research, all that. Let's make this really fun. I really do love the comments you guys are leaving. So, again, please be respectful. Comment, like, share. I really, really am so happy that all of you have been so supportive of me. Again, thank you, thank you, thank you. And one big thing. Coming up on Tuesday, I have an interview. I'll be posting it with an ESPN analyst. Tuesday, mark your calendars, the 29th, I'll be interviewing an ESPN analyst about the new CBA agreement in the NHL, as well as going over a few topics that have to do with the Florida Panthers. You're not going to want to miss that. But guys, anyways, again, thank you so much for tuning in. I'm your host, Greg Andrews. Excuse me. I will see you guys next time. All right. Enjoy the rest of your week. Hopefully I have something else coming out tomorrow or the following day. Again, thank you all so much for your support. I'll talk to you guys then. Go Cats.